I knew it was gonna. I knew it was gonna require that I drop the previous stream. I really got to talk to some other people that live stream more often about how the software works. Like, what's the easiest way? And I thought I was doing it the easiest way too. This setup is just the camera and a mic, and I'm just telling YouTube to take the feed from them both. And I don't know if you guys were able to hear me before, but the webcam feed certainly wasn't going through. I actually don't know if the mic feed is going through. I'm gonna see if I can actually pull this video up on my cell phone to see if I can hear myself. That worked out perfectly. All right. Awesome. Okay. Hey, Amy. Put this over here for right now. I'm just going to go and give this a couple of minutes because we had quite a few people in the other chat. I think at one point we hit 9, which was nice, and it's too bad that it didn't just work all at once. But things kind of just are what they are. So, a little drink. I've got a timer on my screen. I don't think you guys can't see it. Okay. It's about to hit 2 minutes. At the 3-minute mark, I'm going to start talking to people that weren't there before. They'll be able to catch up or rewind. I'll leave this up. I don't know if it'll be left up indefinitely, but it'll be up for a time for sure. Well, that'll work out okay. Yeah, what a struggle. It's never allowed to be easy, at least not with the lives. I do pretty well otherwise. I'm also extremely impatient. This is so hard to wait. It would make sense that I was in a bike accident. It's like, you can't wait 1 minute. No, no, I cannot wait a minute. What do you think? The world is full of minutes? Actually, it is full of minutes, though, but no, I don't want to wait minutes. All right, 57, 58, 59. Okay. Hey, there goes Mike the Naked Bigfoot. I think maybe perhaps he was on the other stream and noticed that I was not there. That was weak. That was terrible stuff. I don't know why. It tries to pick up these virtual cameras first that I've almost never used. In fact, one of them I've officially never used this thing, and it's always going to it. And I think that my current webcam is probably extremely low on the priority list because it's older. When it came out, 720p was pretty good, but for nowadays, this is not. I don't even know if you could find this except, like, maybe some clearance rack or something. But anyway, it is what it is. We are where we are. So let's start. What I'm going to do is we do have a couple of questions on the original community post that I'll be getting to. I'm going to start with the question that came to me from Twitter because it just seems like a good place to start. There was a gentleman that asked about the bike accident. He said that, he loves horror and loves biking, bikes 100 miles a week. Good on him. So he was really curious about what happened. And so we're going to start there because it kind of takes us to how we got here. Okay. So last Wednesday after the premiere, I did what I normally do on Wednesdays. I ate a little bit of food, was hanging out with my son, took a nap, maybe 50 minutes, an hour, got up, we were going to ride bike, and then go and play some video games. We are planning on riding through some really nice trails. There's some excellent trails that are not super close, but they're driving distance from where we are. And we do a lot of hiking on foot, but you can get a lot farther if you are going to do a good leg of a journey on a bike. Even if we were to, uh, hide the bikes in behind some foliage or something at some point and then go on foot, we would be able to approximate the amount of time. Like, all right, well, we rode for 22 minutes. So whatever amount we walk, it's going to be that amount back plus, roughly 22 minutes to get back to the car, civilization, etc. So to build up stamina, we had been biking every day, at least a mile. And biking a mile is not something that's difficult. That's a very easy thing to do. But where we live, there is a lot of elevations. Like right on my block, there is a lot of elevations. So if it was a mile flat, gosh, I don't even know how it would be incredibly fast. But having to go and grind uphill and then it's flat and then it's downhill, and it's much more challenging than just a straight run. Well, I told my son that he could pick the route today because every time I pick, I always want to go. It would be northwest because that's where the state game lands are. That's where we like to hike. I like the area. I like the woods, and given the opportunity, that's where I'm going. I'm going to the woods. So doing doing something so similar so often, it can be kind of boring, especially for a child. And I mean, I suppose at some point, it's not that he doesn't like the woods, but I don't think he loves the woods as much as I do. So I was like, we'll let you choose. And so he wanted to go around the block, which is just over a mile. So it's like, okay, well, there is a street that cars won't go down because of potholes. And he turned off on this thing. And I remember thinking to myself, if we were to turn around right here, we could go down the way we came up, which I've done 1,000 times. And it's paved and it's much more safe. And it's like, we would have gone a little over a mile. It would have been very cool. But he had committed to it already, and there was no way for me to retrieve him. So I went and I made the left, and we start going down. And then this is where the story's going to get boring. I know I was thinking I better ride the brakes because this road is the worst. The paramedic and doctors and everybody pretty much said I suffered a concussion because I don't actually recall the crash. I am pretty sure that I hit a pothole because they were everywhere. And I do know how to ride a bike. So I don't remember what happened. I don't know how I got to my house. Now, I did ask my son, and he was able to fill in some of the blanks. He says that he saw me turn the corner, but I was walking and I was like kind of self-hugging. And what I was actually doing was I was immobilizing my right arm, which was, even though I don't remember it, it had to be an incredible pain because that arm would be in pain for the next several days. So I somehow got back to the cabin. There's a couple of steps, not a baby amount of steps, not a super amount either, maybe 10 steps or something. You walk up because the basement kind of, has a window going out so you can see through. So it's an elevated situation to the front door. I get up the steps, and my son says, I just kind of crashed. We have a chair that's right at the entrance of the house. So I just sat down right there, and according to my son, first off, I didn't look really good. So he asked if I wanted to call the cops or, an ambulance or something. And I replied with, I think my arm is broken, which is a dumb thing to reply. The right answer there would have been yes. So he got my cell phone from me, and somehow I unlocked the device. I put my password in or whatever it was. And I had a conversation that I don't recall even with emergency. And I told them that I thought my arm was broken. It was maybe 28 minutes, my son says, and he's 13, and he's got a pretty level head, so take his word for it. Before EMTs arrived, and I don't say paramedics, because the paramedics come later. There was some other urgent situation where there were a bunch of paramedics on standby, so they didn't have any to spare. It was absolutely crazy. Anyhow, my son tells me in that roughly 28 minutes, I asked him 5 times if we had called for emergency services, and he let me know, yeah. And he also said that there were some times where it looked like I was like kind of fading out, and he'd shake me to wake me up a little bit, and I was thank you for that. I don't know what the rules are anymore, because when I was very small, I think it was you're not supposed to let that person go to sleep right now, but then at some point in the middle, like, no, you should let that person rest. And then I think again we're at never ever let that person pass out. So I don't even know. I'm not emergency medical personnel though, so I guess it's not terrible that I don't know what those rules are. But I was grateful to be kept awake by my son. It's like, man, it was some smooth moves right there. He said that he was actually worried that I was going to live my life on some 5-minute like loop, like I wouldn't recall what happened 5 minutes there. Poor little guy. I'm sure it was terrifying for him. The paramedics got there. I couldn't tell them what day it was, but I knew who I was. I knew where we were. I knew my address. But I was I'd been jostled pretty good. I was pretty serious. So they get me in the ambulance, and they start taking me to the nearest hospital, which from my house is about 26 minutes. Again, I live in the woods. 26 minutes is actually a pretty short drive to get anywhere from where I'm at. So there was nothing crazy there. Midway through the drive, a paramedic meets up with them, and they trade out I think it was an EMTB for the paramedic, and the EMTB ended up on standby at whatever. Again, I have no idea what was holding them all there, but my son does confirm that they told me that all the ambulances were out, that it was just a very poor day to get injured. And that kind of was the mantra of the day. When I got to Pocono Medical Center, again, it was, wow, this was a really bad day to get injured. They were actually in the process of calling in doctors and nurses that were off to see if I don't know, I think it was if they would go to be on standby with the EMTs, or if it was for them to pad the hospital. I have no clue. But that was the bike accident. And instead of ending right there, I'm going to go a step further and tell you guys about the most painful thing I've ever experienced in my life. There are all kinds of miracle drugs available right now. Really, like, it's incredible. I was on, I don't know if it was morphine or fentanyl, but I was on something really heavy, and they took a bunch of x-rays and determined that my radial bone had snapped. Okay, right near the head, like I guess like right below the head, it snapped, and that's by the elbow joint, not towards the wrist. So while on these straight intravenous pain meds, the doctor put one hand firmly on my right bicep and the other hand firmly on my forearm and pulled. And I mean, and this is on some incredible painkillers. The pain was astronomical. I said all kinds of insane words all at once. And I mean, I was not animated at that point. I mean, I'd wiped on a bike. I was exhausted. My life was, everything was blurry. I saw so clearly in that moment, but all you could see was pain. It was absolutely insane. And then I said thank you afterwards, because I felt bad, because I knew the guy was doing his job. You know, it's not like he was some kind of master. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to yank on this guy's bone. Apparently, when he took the x-rays, not only was everything dislocated, but it looked like the bones were kind of like flipped. So he was trying to twist. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was astronomical. And again, I am grateful that he did it, because later on, it would be 45 hours before I would get surgery. They ended up taking me to a different hospital that specializes in trauma, um, which worked out really well for me, because we didn't even know that my wrist uh, had been injured also, because I'd been so big on protecting my elbow and my forearm. My wrist was protected by proxy, and the pain was so astronomical that I mean, you could have dropped a hammer on my toe and I'd been like, there's not that much difference. I don't know that I would have noticed, because of all the pain that was in my arm. So my surgery was supposed to last around 2 hours. It ended up lasting 5 hours, because when they went in there, they discovered that, oh, look, this is all busted up too. Oh man, that was crazy. That was absolutely wild. So yeah, even on those incredible painkillers, morphine, whatever, I'll tell you right now, if enough pain is generated, it will break through that painkiller, and you will experience. I'm sure that it would have been. I probably would have passed out if I didn't have the painkillers in me. I don't know how I would have managed otherwise. But for that to be that painful, being pumped up on that much pain medication, I can't even imagine. Like that must have been like a 40 out of 10 pain or something. All right, so that is the bike accident and how I got here. Now I'm going to go and take a look into chat real quick. I'm normally more organized than this. I do apologize. It's very hard when you have one hand. This is my second time sitting in this chair since the accident. And the first time was yesterday, when it took me way longer than usual to create that thumbnail. I'm so used to moving around on my computer and things being done like crazy efficiently that it's like, wow, it's almost like I'm brand new. Partially because I'm doing it lefty, and not only am I lefty, but I'm somewhat immobilized. The right arm, thank God, it doesn't hurt anymore, but it kind of acts as an anchor. Okay. You see Dark Gaming 2 is in. Hey, what's going on, bud? And CC Lobens. We are back. Hey, Sandy. Stoner TV, what's going on, my guy? Tanzanite butterfly art. I'm not too, it's absolutely insane, actually. Because I'm still kind of learning about this. Like I said, it took 45 hours to get to surgery. Because the hospital was a trauma hospital, and if someone came in with something, that was more life-threatening, I would get bumped. To be fair, as painful as it was, my life was not in immediate danger as far as they could tell, and it obviously wasn't, because I'm still here. So I got bumped a couple of times. I have discovered that during the day, I'm fine on just Tylenol. When it gets to be around 6 p.m., I tried this yesterday. I tried taking the muscle relaxer and the narcotic painkiller. For whatever reason, the pain starts around 7, and it just escalates. Excuse me. I apologize for that. The pain just escalates, and it becomes this throbbing, horrible mess, usually between 11 and 1. And it's terrible because during the day, you put on some TV, you can distract yourself a little bit, but at night, you kind of just want to sleep. And so I'm beginning to think that maybe I need to stop fighting this, and I just need to sleep during the day and just plan on being up at night. But it sounds miserable to me. My son, my family, they're awake during the day, and I do like the sun. And like right now, my arm is busted, but I do the half-a-mile walk with my dog. I'm not holding the lead, mind you, because a little tug in the wrong direction, and I would definitely be in a world of pain. But during the day, I'm pretty okay. It's in the evenings when it all kind of starts up, and I don't know when that's going to stop. It's kind of been my experience since this whole thing started, and I've tried different things since I've been home. I got home on Saturday night, so I've been trying different things since then. I end up trying something new pretty much every day. It's not been that long if you think about it, though. You got Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday. Yeah, so I've done different things for 4 nights. And I'm trying to chase down the solution because I go for face surgery. You can see maybe this is a lot of reflection, but I cracked my eye socket in 3 different spots, is what I'm told. And there's a part of my cheek that is floating. The bone is not attached to anything else. So dumb, dumb, dumb. But no, I'm not. I'm not in any kind of real pain right now. When this is done, I'm probably gonna go and put on the TV and just pass out for a little bit. I'd imagine until 5, and then around 6, we already know the show starts again. That's kind of what's up. So, but thank you very much for your concern. I do appreciate it. James looks twice said that they're gonna have to get me some get me a military lightweight helmet and some Kevlar. My son mentioned that there is a it's like, I don't even know how it would work. You put this thing on around your neck, and then if you fall down, it creates like a bubble around your head. And I said, well, what if it's on backwards and then I can't breathe? This is not a good solution for anything. What if it malfunctions? Like, I can't breathe. I'm stuck in this thing. And you break your arm in the process. Now that's it. You're going to suffocate to death with this, I don't know, like freaking balloon over your face. I don't know. I would definitely trust the military helmet and the Kevlar over some space freaking head condom protection. I'm pretty sure that thing is going to kill somebody. I don't know how they could avoid it. Okay. Hey, Papa Joey, I'm glad I'm on too. I especially wanted to get on today. I have a couple of ideas. It was Jet Juboy that mentioned that I should do a content creator live Q&A. And in one of the comments he mentioned, he said, well, I'm sure you're going to do these in the future, but right now you have this, really nice small community. And if you end up with 100,000 subscribers, is it still a Q&A? Is it still live? Yeah, it definitely is, but it's not what it can be today. Right now, if you have a question, you put it in the chat, the odds of me seeing it are bloody high. So I thought that was a great idea. And then I realized if I go for face surgery on Friday, I know I repeat myself a lot. I do apologize for that. It's not that I don't remember. It's that saying those same words are the easiest way my mind can get from A to B. It's just the quickest route. And I've just made that route a little bit longer by explaining what happened there. So, yeah, he mentioned that maybe this would be a good idea. And I was like, well, if I'm going to do it, I better do it right now because I have no clue what's going to happen when I go in for face surgery. Like not even a little bit. I could be in pain for ever. Who knows? I might have trouble speaking. I might have trouble chewing. Right now, this whole portion of my face is numb. Like it's incredible. When it first happened, I was kind of like, I would talk and then I would touch. Because I didn't sound funny. I don't think I sound funny when I speak, but I feel like I should sound funny. So I don't know if it's muscle memory or whatever, but this side of my face, there is very little feeling there. Maybe 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10 feeling. Yeah, I can kind of count how many fingers I'm touching with, but that's it. If it was like, fingers versus like a needle poking or something, I'm not going to be able to tell the difference. So that pretty much left today because I can't predict what's going to happen next week. And I am glad to be here. Okay. Mike the Naked Bigfoot said, the woods are awesome, but in my experience, most of the things that want to hurt you are in the woods. Yeah. Yes. It's crazy too, because I did so many stupid things as a teenager. And I don't even mean like the normal stuff. My friends and I would go rollerblading up and down Manhattan. And if we would happen upon a shopping cart one time. This is one event, and we had many shopping carts. Um, I stood up in the shopping cart on my rollerblades, and the goal was they were going to go and ram me. I don't know how many of you are familiar with like the projects in New York, but I was raised in Harlem from 2 years old till I moved out when I was 20. So it's 18 years. And the projects, they all have these like high fences around them. I don't know why, to keep people off the grass near the building. I mean, honestly, people will just pee out the window anyway. So whatever. Bathroom's 2 feet away. I guess the window isn't easier. It's less work, whatever. Anyway, I stood up on the shopping cart and I had my friends push the shopping cart. And the idea was we're going to reach top speed and I'm going to jump on my rollerblades, clear the fence, and land in the grass. 3 seconds into this plan, I realized I would not be able to catch up momentum-wise. Like once the running started, I kind of fell back a little bit, and there wasn't enough because I was on wheels. I wasn't stable. We ended up getting smashing me into the fence. I flip up, and the spike from the fence ends up inside my skate. Does not hurt my foot at all, but catches the skate. So I'm hanging upside down. How did that not kill me? But riding my bike around the block as an adult, I think being older is what really wants to kill people. We need to be very careful. If you're an adult, just be careful, because the stuff that I got away with doing as a kid, maybe God just has a sense of humor. You know, it's like, oh yeah, it's Mike. He just does some wacky stuff. We'll let it go this time again. But as an adult, like, no, you should know better. How dare you? Now you're just being silly. Okay. What's your type of scary stories from Dark Gaming 2? My absolute favorite type of scary story. And it's obviously, a lot of these stories are told over and over again. Like, how many times have you seen Romeo and Juliet done? They don't call it Romeo and Juliet every time. It's given a different name. They're different people, different places, but it's Romeo and Juliet. My absolute favorite scary story is The Monkey's Paw. In my head, it's just so real. People don't know what they want. Before I even knew what The Monkey's Paw was, I was watching a TV show. I don't even remember which one it was. It could have been Growing Pains or something. But someone mentioned a Chinese curse, may you get what you wish for. And after thinking about it, it's like, that is an incredible curse. May you get what you wish for. And that's what the monkey's paw really is. It is, may you get what you wish for. People, there's a balance to the universe. And when you try to manually tilt that balance in your favor, the universe seeks balance, no matter what. It's across the board. It's a rule. That's why, it's actually one of the reasons why I do this channel, right? Because if things are going very poorly for you and you've done everything you could and it's 10 p.m., you can stay awake all night and worry about it. Or maybe you can distract yourself for a little bit, forget that you're having this issue, pass out, wake up at 8 a.m. or 6 a.m. or whatever, and then continue fighting tomorrow. It doesn't do any good for you to go and wrap yourself up in something overnight, right? Especially if what's happening is so unjust because the universe seeks out balance. I don't know how many people have had this happen, but I think almost everybody. You worry about something and then it doesn't even happen. It's like, oh gosh, what if? And then at the end, it's like, oh, look, that didn't even. It's like, why did you put yourself through all of that suffering then? It doesn't make any sense to me. But the monkey's paw, it's almost like you're doing the opposite. You're oh, well, I want this and piss off the universe and screw everybody else. Okay, I mean, if you want to play that game, but understand things are going to get balanced again. Okay, and depending on how firm or hard, because sometimes the balance is I stole $20 and now I pay the fine. I'm in trouble. I go to court. Other times to achieve balance, the universe has to get more drastic. And man, that's serious. So even, oh gosh, the monkey's paw, Jurassic Park is the monkey's paw. Frankenstein is the monkey's paw. Like all these amazing stories, they are the monkey's paw. Uh, so yeah, the monkey's paw. That is hands down my favorite type of scary story. If I had to pick one scary story that I think would beat them all, it would be the monkey's paw. I have recently started playing with other scary stories that I'm currently writing out. And it's specifically because it's like I lean heavily. Everything I write has been the monkey's paw, and I don't write everything. Obviously, on this channel, there are true stories and urban legends and things like that. But for the ones that I have written, it's like this is the monkey's paw. This is the monkey's paw. It's just the monkey's paw every time. So I'm working on breaking out of that a little bit. There's gonna be some really fun stuff coming. Okay, this sounds like an alien abduction. Yeah, that's what happened. The aliens got me. They beat me up real good and they dropped me off. My son said the bike looked pretty good too when I ended up seeing him again a couple days later. I was like, I'm tougher than any bike. And he said, your bike didn't have a scratch. And I was like, all right, I'm not as tough as that bike. Yeah. My son is all killer, no filler. He's a strange one, but I mean, he's raised by me, so. But when I watch him interact with other children, other adults, it's like, okay, he needs to watch a little more TV. And I know just the shows. You got to be really careful what you show to little kids. He's not little anymore. He's 13, but when I was really small, Jim Carrey was huge in Hollywood, and my parents showing me Jim Carrey was a mistake. That should not have been done. That's a story for another time, I'd imagine, though, and not a very good story either. Mike the Naked Bigfoot. Morphine is amazing. Yes, morphine is incredible. I don't know why. 45 hours is what it took for them to get me to surgery. Around hour 30 something that night, I was like, I'm in pain. Can I have something? They're like, well, how much pain? I was like, right now, 7 out of 10. And they brought me an oxy. And I was like, will the morphine come from your personal stash? Like, my arm has been broken for over 24 hours. What's your problem? Oh, man. I didn't say any of that, though, and I was cordial, and I did ask. I was like, can I have something a little stronger than this? And she said, let's wait 45 minutes. And I said, sure, I'll take this, and we can wait 45 minutes. What ended up happening was it was so my mom and my wife would be there during the day. So during the day, they would petition for me. They'd see me in pain, and then I'd get a shot, and I would pass out. And then at night, when they're not there to petition for me, I'm there awake watching Golden Girls in pain. This is a bad system. This is a terrible system. So I went and I told the nurse, I was like, I feel like what's happening is that they're petitioning for me during the day. And so I'm getting a stronger variety of pain med. If you want, we can switch it. You can give me the stronger stuff at night so I can sleep, and then give me the easier stuff during the day where I can get distracted with TV or my family. And the nurse was very kind and understood. And she said, oh, I'm so sorry. Like apparently the way it works is good. It's smart, but they're putting these pretty much safety mechanisms in place to prevent abuse, especially considering there's an opioid epidemic going on. And I understand that 100%. There are a lot of people right now that need help, that are struggling with opioid abuse, and I feel for them. But when my arm has been broken for over 24 hours, I'm feeling for me just a little bit more. So she was great. 50 minutes in, I went and I buzzed again, and it was fine. And I ended up taking a nap for 4 hours. It was an okay thing. Bone pain can't be dulled. Maybe that's what's happening at night. That's Mike the Naked Bigfoot again. Hey, Gamma's on, or was on. Hopefully still is. What's going on, Gamma? And what's going on, Mustang Sandy? Papa Joey mentions that he knows the pain won't keep me down for long. That is a fact. For the most part, what's happening right now is if I didn't have surgery on Friday, I would probably be trying to find a way to create some kind of system over here to hold my arm up, just so I can start. Not right now because the wrist is not destroyed, but was definitely hurt. There's a wire going through my wrist right now. They're gonna have to, excuse me, they're gonna have to pull it out at some point. So, but if my wrist functioned and I could just immobilize my arm, my mouse already is so sensitive. I do so many little manipulations here and there, and some of them are big manipulations, that moving my mouse like this much just will actually fly across the screen. I don't know. I might have to turn that down a little bit because I can imagine there being like a little bit of shakiness or something. It'd be difficult to compete with, but it is only a matter of time before I go and set the mouse up and set something up for my arm to be there comfortable where I can go and start moving around again. Tanzanite butterfly art. We need to call you Papa Broken Bones until you're all healed up. That's okay. I see your meaning, but life is not a snapshot. If this was a picture and that was it, it was like, well, this is a super horror show. This is a very sad photo. We're not pictures, we're movies, and every movie has a part in it where there's several parts where you take a picture and you're like, oh no, this is no good. The bad guy looks like they're going to win and everything, and then what happens a couple scenes later, glory is finished. It's fantastic. So we're aiming at that right now. Dark Gaming 2, you know what videos you should probably do? Cursed Cars. I have disturbing backstory. My favorite one is James Dean, Little Bastard Car. Yeah, that's cool. I've been thinking about, what the thing is that I want to do everything, literally everything. The people that have subscribed to this channel and are tuning in are willing to suspend their disbelief enough. They'll accept the animation. And what that means is I can literally do anything I want to do, right? So it sounds so goofy, but I watch commercials. I watch commercials for all kinds of things. Commercials are a really smart person's, well, they're supposed to be a really smart person's way to try to get you to do something. And I've seen some very poorly made commercials recently too, and I'm just, who is this made for? Or maybe I'm just not the target audience at all, and the target audience is so far away from me that I can't conceive them. That's possible too. So anytime I watch a commercial, I try to see, like, well, what's interesting here? And I don't just buy stuff either. So don't you just buying stuff, watch commercials and buy stuff all day. No, it's not how that's going on either. But I watch commercials, and I've recently saw a commercial for a documentary. And I was like, wow, this looks really interesting. This looks like a lot of fun. I can do this. And, the other voice might, what do you mean you can do this? You can make a documentary? Like, yeah, I can make a documentary. Well, what would that look like? I get these two animated guys here, and essentially they're narrating the animation. One person is queuing with questions, and the other person replies, and then we can go and do like a backflash. And the whole thing is animated, though. There are no real persons. And I don't know, it just seems, it was an idea I just had. I actually wrote it on my phone today. It's one of those things that I'm going to play test a little bit before committing to, because I do recognize the audience is definitely going to know that those two people are cartoons, and they personally did not experience this. But the counter to that argument is Mike the Naked Bigfoot in Goblin House. He was a real person, and then he was an animated person, and nobody said boo. So there might be a right way to, but I do think that I'd like to make a documentary and a lot of other, but yeah, it's like, wow, a horror documentary, that'd be something. And that little bastard idea, that's a strong one. That's a fun one. I do like Cars too. You got to do the Papa Bones voice. I wish that I could. So here's what happened. Somebody asked when I said that when I made the announcement I was injured, they said, well, it's a 2-person team. What exactly was damaged? And I think this might have been the first post that I put out because I wasn't replying to things for days. I read everything relatively quick, but I had such low energy. At one point, I had double vision, even when looking through one eye. I don't even know how that's possible. Dizzy, tired, just it was a mess. But I figured I would go and bring that up here. The part of the team that took the biggest hit was the voice acting. I write out pretty much every lunch break. Anything that is comedy is pretty much written out by me. The stuff that wasn't really hindered was us finding scary stories, true scary stories. Unlike special projects, the music video, I had no part in that. As terms of like the weekly videos, that stuff is usually either a 2-man job or it gets traded off depending on what's going on around. It just kind of depends on a lot of different things. If there are 3 stories in one video, it's not unusual for me to do one story, the cabin's intro and outro, the lunch break, and then the other 2 stories are done by not me. So when I was in surgery, they put this thing in my throat to keep me alive, and my voice is not flexible at all right now. I made an attempt before right now. It was a couple of days ago. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to do that voice for a while. That's going to be something. And we started thinking about, well, what will we do then for, video wise? And I think the answer is going to be, I'm going to put Val in the hospital and have Eddie there with them and have Eddie do the intros and the outros. Because that's something I can do. So we're going to say Val also fell off his bike. All right. Heavy Metal Beer Club. Are you going to go for the Bruce Campbell chin after all? I do plan on showing them the photo on Friday. I had another idea too. My son tells me that if I can beat all the children at Fortnite, that I can win a lot of money. So I'm going to see if they'll give me some kind of robot chip in my right eye and then put one in my right arm to just make me the best at Fortnite so I can win all the money until the kids stop playing it. Like, no, this guy is clearly the best. Which one? The guy with the Bruce Campbell chin and the chip in his eye and arm. So I don't think that they're going to acknowledge it at all. I don't even know. I mean, I hope that they recognize that that's Bruce Campbell, but if they didn't, that's going to be weird. This used to be me. Love deserts. A lot of stuff going. Mike the Naked Bigfoot. Going to the desert can get you high. Right on. Okay. Gamma said bye like 20 minutes ago. See you, Gamma. Maybe I'll watch it on the replay. Okay. Mike the Naked Bigfoot. Never play Russian roulette with the universe. That is the truth. Even if you win, you lose. That's the truth, because the universe needs balance. You should read that. My absolute biggest freakout story from Sandy. I will send you a message later, Sandy, on Patreon to see what you mean. If you mean the monkey's paw, maybe I should. Maybe I should. Okay. I'm just thumbing through these to make sure we didn't miss anything. Silent Torture has to go to work. That's okay. I'm glad they were here at all. Go full Terminator Cyborg. That would be awesome. I'm just going to go now and run a quick check for the questions on the original post to make sure I answer those. Here we go. What was the motivation behind Super Horror Show, and more specifically, Valentine Kill More? I actually tried to do comedy on YouTube, and it didn't work. Maybe I wasn't very good back then. I have read many books since then on comedy and storytelling and things like that. I think I just have a thing with catharsis, because both comedy and horror hinge on release and relief. So I think that's what brought me here, is that they both have to surprise. For comedy to be funny, the answer has to surprise you. For horror to be good, it has to surprise you. So if I had to predict why, because it wasn't something I thought about. It was just kind of like, hey, this sounds like a cool idea. Let's do this. And then we did it. That's how I would peg that one. And as for Valentine Kill More, I don't know. It is hard as a creator sometimes to separate yourself from the things you create. I work pediatric home care. Before that, I worked geriatric home care, and I did a lot of work geriatric home care hospice. And when I worked hospice, I would bring 3 books with me everywhere I went. Like if I didn't, because they can send you anywhere, I would bring a book on Alice's Many Adventures in Wonderland. I would bring Robin Hood, and I would bring Lincoln the Unknown, which is a biography for Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln. And, I would read to people in hospice. That's what I would do. I mean, obviously I fed them. I often worked overnight, but that's what I would do. I would go and I would read to them. I had one client that came home and was having a lot of trouble and ended up on a ton of morphine. And then he ended up in this weird, I don't know if it was a coma or what. He slept for days. So I just went there and I would just read to him from Robin Hood every day. Just going to keep reading and reading and reading. And when he woke up, all he wanted was to hear Robin Hood. He was supposed to live a week. I think he lived for 7 weeks, maybe 8. He was an incredible person. And that's when I realized that reading is excellent because it's one-way communication. So if somebody is ill or tired or just doesn't have the words to say, reading to them allows you to communicate one way, which is really bizarre because communication, the word, it implies, there's 2 or more, there's a back and forth. But you can achieve, if it's not communication, it's something very similar by reading to somebody. So I just ran around doing this, and it was painful because there I was reading to these people, and for the most part, I was watching them die. You know, it's it's a tough job. And then when now I work pediatrics, and I don't read as much as in pediatrics. Kids like Xbox more often, but thanks to the miracle of the smartphone, I have Calvin and Hobbes, one of the book collections of the comics on my phone, and I do get an opportunity every now and then to go and read to the children, um, or one or two of them. So that's a neat thing. I've been telling stories for a very long time. Uh, Even before then, I was putting on puppet shows with Winnie the Pooh puppets. My little brother is 10 years younger than me, so he was 2 when I was 12, and this Winnie the Pooh puppet theater was essentially the first lunch break, because they weren't the kind of storylines you would see on Winnie the Pooh. It was just some absolutely crazy stuff. Um, Tigger and Winnie the Pooh combined would be kind of like Val, because Winnie the Pooh's a little clueless, and Tigger's just optimistic and hyper about everything. And then you had other characters that kind of either suffer at their hands or pull them back, weigh them down a little bit, and we would do this for days. It was a good time. Um, so creating Val and having him go and tell people stories, it felt natural to me to have that personified. So that's that. Sandy asked, "What makes you happiest about your channel?" The community, easily the community. If I didn't have my little brother, then I'm not putting on a puppet show. I'm a crazy person playing with socks. Yeah, right? I mean, let's be honest here. You need an audience if you're telling stories. Otherwise, you're just talking for no reason. The audience and the creator, they need each other, the both of them. So I know after someone gets big to a certain point, it's like, oh, well, maybe they don't need maybe this, maybe that. People can say what they like. No, they do need each other. I'm going to tell you from experience, the artistic process is sadly not enough. Okay. Elkie asked, "What kind of music do you like the most?" Man, she said it's a simple question. For me, that is not a simple question. I love music. For me, any song that can make me laugh every time I listen to it is a great song. So, having said that, almost any Irish tune is guaranteed to score really high on the list. I do listen to some metal, of course, Slipknot, and System of a Down. I listen to plenty of garbage rock, Blink-182, Sum 41. Gosh, I love The Cure. I listen to I'm going to have to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm probably going to go and find a way to start sharing the music that I listen to on a semi-regular basis, because there's just way too much of it. I listen to country music. I'll listen to 90s rap. I don't really like the new stuff, but just about everything. Mandy Mortem asked, "Is there anything in the world you'd like to try that you haven't yet?" Yeah, I mean, I said earlier today, I want to do everything. I do. It took me a lot of time and energy to learn how to animate, and now that I have it, I want to do everything I can with it. Me and Hood Horror, sometimes I'll be talking on the phone, and we'll just think of crazy ideas for a show, a bit, a parody, just, excuse me, these little crazy ideas here and there. And I love each and every one of them, and a lot of them will probably never get to be made, because there's not enough hours in the day. But the ones that do, it's incredible. It means everything. Okay. I think that's it for the questions. We're at minute 55 right now. So I'm going to go and share with you guys. Actually, I'm going to go check real quick over here. Yep. I'm going to go share with you guys a little bit, and then I'm going to go and rest. These were things that were going to be shown only to people on Patreon. People on Patreon, when I get an idea that I'm excited about, they're the people that I share it with first. Some people on Patreon are fortunate enough to even be considered, in my mind, beta testers. I will reach out to these people personally and say, this is my idea for a show. Like, I will make an episode of something and put it out there and say, well, what do you think about this? Where are you bored? Where is it exciting? And I get the list of stuff back. But Patreon is especially a great resource for me. Not just because, not going to lie, definitely getting a little bit of money sent in by Patreon definitely helps. I'd be an idiot to go and pretend that wasn't it. But I do know that if you're with me on Patreon, that you're obviously not just trolling. This is not some kind of parody thing. It's not, you clearly enjoy the content. Otherwise, you wouldn't go and toss a little bit of money at it every now and then. So they're a great, the entire group really is a great way to beta test things, and I'll go and I'll put up photos and stuff. So I had, me and Hood Horror were talking about this idea for a series about the Candy Witch. And at first, again, because these things take so many iterations, I wonder if I can show you guys on my phone. I mean, I'm all over the place. At first, I was thinking of making it a one-off, and she was based on this woman that's real, where I grew up. She wasn't a witch, though, or at least I didn't know she was. She would go in the ghetto, in the projects. You could go and buy ices for her for 50 cents. What she would do is she would make Kool-Aid and put it in these cups and then freeze them and then sell them for 50 cents each later. So one day, my friend and I are going, and we're going to go and purchase some ices. It was a hot night, and he's like, well, how much money do you have? And I had a couple dollars. I didn't have a lot. And he's like, well, we should go over here because we'll get a lot more ices for this amount of money. And I was like, yeah, I'm down for that. Let's do that. And it was wild because everybody knew. Now, he lived in a projects that was probably about half a mile away from me. I lived at 120th Street, 2nd Ave. I've lived in Wagner for a good portion of my life, Wagner Projects. And I don't even know if he was Johnson or Jefferson. It didn't matter. But he was up around 114th in Lexington. So in their project, there was a woman on the first floor, I think it was, and you would knock on her door and ask what she had. And she'd open the door and, I've got red, green, and blue, and it's 2 for $1, and pop. And so we went and got it. Was awesome. I was like, wow, this is way more icy for 50 cents. This is great. So Hood Horror and I came up with this idea. Well, what if, and I'm not even going to lie, I had the idea about the candy bits, but I didn't know how to put it together. And he's like, well, what if some teens went to rob her, right? That'd be insane. A botched robbery from a woman that would sell candy from her apartment in the projects. I was like, that is inspired and so close to my real life that I would have no trouble writing it. I'm going to go and try to show this to the camera now. because I absolutely love the image. I was going to go and arrange these and do something special with them. This was me play testing the idea. Wow, that's really bright. We're going to see if this comes out. Okay, I'm going to turn down the brightness on this. See if we can get a good shot. I'm going to turn it down again. Holy cow. So, again, I'm going to make another attempt to turn it down. Don't worry about it. But what we're looking at here is a bunch of gummy bears and a line. One of the things I love about Creepmas is this mixing of creepy with things that are endearing. Oh, okay, that came out okay. Go pull it back a little bit. This is not a great image. I recognize that, and I do apologize. But the graphics are absolutely gorgeous. The gummy bears look amazing. And so I'm actually writing several stories where these gummy bears are kind of like the bringers of justice. And I've had a great time. It's really, I am moderately sad because that was, if I did not get injured on Wednesday, I was going to go and start putting out the first bits of promo art on Patreon, so you guys could see them and I could start getting feedback on what's going on. But there's so much awesome stuff being planned. Let me go see if I can turn down the brightness a little bit more. I don't know if you guys can see really well. No, that picture is not going to. That was like Candy Jason. That's Jason made out of gummy bear. And the really fun thing about having a killer that's made out of candy, he's not Jason because that would be copyright. This is Camp Killer. Camp Killer, not Jason. But the really great thing about having characters that work that way is that if you can imagine a 6'2" homicidal gummy thing with a very large gummy machete coming at you, there should be an aroma in the air, shouldn't there? You should smell something first, wouldn't you? Like there'd be something about it that you'd be able to pick up on relatively quick, and it's like, wow, this makes for a really fun legend. I was hoping to have the first episode out in July. I don't know that that's going to happen. And the Camp Killer, not Jason, he's different. He wouldn't even be episode 1. Like most of these things, the first episode is going to be really more of a horror film, like The Monkey's Paw. Just putting that out there. Where the subsequent ones are going to be much closer to horror parody. When I did that Child's Play story, I had an incredible time. So I'd like to do more of that, but I do think that doing it with candies, little gummy bears, gummy people, gingerbread men, I think there's a certain novelty to doing that. If you think this is a terrible idea, that's okay. You should let me know in the comments, because normally this idea would have gotten play tested first. It's not been play tested because I only got one hand to text with, and I sleep as much as an old person now. Okay. Both of those, have timestamps on them. They will eventually stop. But for right now, my resources, my time, and my hands are limited. I'm down to one hand and I'm down to a limited amount of time. So if you think it's like, it's kind of extra wacky. I'm not talking about, replacing going to stop doing scary stories. I would never, ever stop. I love urban legends. I would never stop. But I think we'd have a great time. So With that, I'm going to do one final comment check. Right on. I would like to thank you all so much for joining me here today. I would have been very blue had I not been able to meet up with you guys this week. Next week, what I'm going to do is there is the first time that Val was ever on screen. That video is not available. It was the Bloody Mary episode. And the reason why it's not available is because we'll say I was a little camera shy with him. I did not. If you are a high energy person like myself, and I know I don't look very high energy, but I'm being suppressed with narcotics. When you are a high energy person like myself, you are used to this high energy sometimes turning people off around you. So I did not want Val to be rejected. I wanted to make him as palatable as possible to the audience. So I held him back a little bit. And then when the response was so positive, I was like, all right, well, let's go like a moderate amount. And then the response, and then now we're just, I mean, the guy has his own show now. He has Lunch Break. So pretty much do anything you want. And another thing too is if you guys ever have questions or whatever for Val, you guys can ask that at any point because Val has his own show. He can tell you guys during lunch break. I was thinking about like a Q&A when I hit 2,200 subscribers. And I thought it's like Val has his own show. He doesn't really need a Q&A. Lunch break is lunch break is kind of a Q&A, but Val is the one supplying the question. If someone had anything to ask, go for it. It's not going to do it at the beginning, do it at the end, do it whenever. So anyway, so next week, what I'm thinking I'm going to do is we'll probably put Val in the hospital and have Eddie introduce the episode, and then it'll be up officially. That would be the first time. I was going to wait until the 1-year anniversary of the upload to go and put it back up with where Val could go and say something over it a little bit. But I'm going to be animating so incredibly slowly that this seems like a better idea for right now. So that's what's going on next week. There will be a premiere, 1 p.m. normal time. I didn't do 1 p.m. this time because it's so hard to tell when I'm going to run out of steam. And that was good on me because I'm running out of steam and it's just after 1. Okay. Thank you all so much for coming. You all take good care of yourselves. And I will let you guys know how my face surgery goes on Friday. Thank you.